Has anyone wondered that at sometimes why do we act, how do we act in a way that we should not, that the emotion comes and we suddenly act, and we have certain kind of different responses to each and every reaction, and we react differently. Each of us react differently. Has anyone wondered why does this happen? It is because of the mind. Mind is one of the most powerful things we have, yet we are unaware of the fact that it controls more than 90% of our lives. Uh, Yet we are unaware of the fact. And we think that we are running our life, we are making decisions. But unfortunately, let me explain it why. Because since we are born with the body and the brain. The mind we see, it is the created thing, it is the most conditioned thing, the conditioning of society, conditioning of habits, the habits we form, the things we perceive, the language we perceive, and whatever we do, whatever we acquire, it is stored in the subconscious, and the subconscious notices those prints and then creates those things as a memory. So with those memories, you're being run, and just like a storage, and you're being run from that storage. So the version of you which you call you is was created since childhood. Yet you are unaware of the fact. And how? Let me explain with an example. Like a child sees his father since childhood, that the father responds to every situation is with an aggression, and then he learns that it's aggression is the only way to solve a problem. So in this scenario, the child's mind is conditioned with aggression. So in fact, like we have another example, a child who was born in a religious family and have seen their parents performing all the rituals. Then he obviously performs those rituals. He becomes a product of those beliefs. He becomes a product of that conditioning that the parents did. So unintentionally, indirectly, the conditioning, the beliefs, the verdicts that were created in the subconscious mind now is running their entire life. And yet we claim that our emotions are we own it, we own our decisions unknowingly, without knowing that our decisions are not ours, and the decisions are based on pure emotions and emotions which arise due to the subconscious. Yet we are not able to identify with that. So, in order to transcend beyond mind, uh, what I have learned through different books, there are a lot of books which helped me. And there's a book called Thinking Fast and Slow, uh, and there is a book on meditation too. I've forgotten the name. I've forgotten the name of the author, in which they tell that how to transcend beyond the mind. Transcending beyond the mind requires you to just observe the thought. And have you ever asked? Have you ever wondered from where do the thoughts arise? Yet we think that our thoughts we are thinking, but it's not. These are being arised in our mind. The thoughts comes based on our own memory, based on our own perception, based on our own uh, s- understanding of the society as a whole, understanding of the worldview. But this is the default mode network when the brain is activated too much, and the brain's when this our system nervous system is when the nervous system synthetic nervous system is activated. Even I talked in the yesterday's video about the nervous system. We have two kinds of systems. One is synthetic and the one is parasympathetic. When the nervous system is activated, our brain is in the default mode network. The thoughts, there's a loop of thoughts, and I'll come to that nervous system. But first, let me explain the default mode network, from where do the thoughts arises. Thoughts, basically, according to the neuroscience, the thoughts arises. It is the neurochemicals of the brain when they fire, and Ye these are the part of the brain. So thoughts do come. This the science is unable to explain this. From where do the actually thoughts come? but actually in actuality you're not thinking. We mistakenly identify with the thoughts that we are thinking, but in fact that's not the reality. That's one of the most blunder we think that we're thinking. So how to transcend beyond this? Whenever a thought, whenever a conflict situation arises in mind, what we are supposed to do is that uh, first, whenever a thought arises, do not try to identify with the thought. Do not make any story. Do not make any narrative around the thought. Just let the thought be there. And as per neuroscience claims, the thought has a strong presence of around 90 seconds. After 90 seconds, it starts to lose its powers. So what you're supposed to do is that you just have to observe a thought, not make any story regarding thought. And whenever a thought arises, just don't make any story, don't identify with, don't build any narrative regarding it. So it loses its power. So by the time it loses its power, you recognize that it was not you. It was just a thought that came into you. So this is how to identify it and how to transit beyond the mind. And when you do that, when you do this practice, you're able to know that you're able to know your weaknesses, know your emotions. Whenever the conflict situation arises, and when there is a heat of emotion, you recognize that there is certain kind of emotion. Even you just observe an emotion. So as soon as they start to observe, that emotion starts to lose its value, it loses grip. So this is how you observe it. And the second thing is about the nervous system. And the nervous system, as I told you, there are two kinds of nervous system: synthetic nervous system and the parasympathetic. Synthetic is responsible for the default mode network, all the stress-related things like when we are active, when we are playing sports, when we are doing deep work, the synthetic uh, system is activated. But in this world of chaos, most of the times, majority of the people have made this synthetic nervous system as a default mode. So even when they sleep, they're sleeping with the synthetic nervous system. So usually we're born with the parasympathetic nervous system, and let me tell you one, Rasan, when you have got your synthetic nervous system activated, it elevates your cortisol. You're always in the fight and flight response. What does a fight and flight response do? It raises your blood pressure, it raises your heart rate, and the brain uh, assumes it is a threat. That you are in the threat, you are striving, you're surviving, you're in a survival mode basically. So it is even required. I do not mean to say that is not required, but it is required for a certain period of time. Like we're working out, we're running, we're jogging, we're working deeply on something. So it is required for that period of time. But unfortunately, we have developed as a habit, as a default mode. So we have entirely forgotten how to shift into the parasympathetic nervous system. And what does parasympathetic do? Parasympathetic is the default mode of the body. It is the actual thing of the body. And what does it do? It is responsible for your digestion. It is responsible for your relaxation. When your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, so parasympathetic nervous system activates the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which is responsible for the pure decision making. When you're relaxed, you make a good decision. When you're emotionally not too volatile, and synthetic nervous system does quite contrary to what parasympathetic nervous system does. So how to activate parasympathetic nervous system? Uh, there is a bridge between the mind and body, and that is breathing. Uh, you must have just after this video, just look at a child. How does a child breathe? A child always breathes from his belly. That's called belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So, in this point of time, when the entire world is in chaos, people have forgotten to take the full breath, and they are unknowingly taking shallow breath, just like from the chest. That's like 18 to 20 breaths per minute, which always activates the synthetic nervous system. They're always in fight and flight mode. That's why they're always angry. So whenever you try to breathe deeply, the first thing is you have to sit down and relax and try to take uh, 5 to 6 knowingly take deep breaths from the nose and exhale it from the mouth. So in this way, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, and you always try to breathe from your belly. And when you take a full deep breath, you're always in the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is how you feel relaxed. And with this mode, obviously, at this point of time, we are had to survive. But what I'm trying to say is that uh, we have taken too much. We have taken too much things seriously. I mean, we're taking everything seriously, as if it's a matter of life and death. As a matter of life and death at this point of time. Uh, I'll even come at the point of the evolution of life and the concept of death. Even I'll even talk about that. How does different religions and how does different theories, what do they say about, and why do humans fear death so much? So why do us humans fear death so much? And I'll talk about this in the next video. So this was all about the mind and the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is how you are going to do that. So this is all just an opinion. You can try and observe this, and I thought to share with you my own experience and my own analysis on this. And this is how the mind works.